Alright, welcome back guys. Let's deal with the dashboard page, and I'm just gonna grab some elements from the login page like the footer, content, and top bar. So duplicate those in dashboard. Alright, and let's see, the footer stays, the top bar will stay as well, only we'll make a couple of we'll add a couple of buttons, and the content, we don't really need the login form, so we'll just keep that and the artwork. Alright, so starting with the top bar, let's group this as button return, and I'll just duplicate it, and this one will say logged in as something like this. This is the logged in message. Okay, let me zoom in here so you can see a bit better. Make this a bit bigger, and instead of the arrow, we'll just use a user icon. So this is it, IC user. Okay, and we'll make this green, so give it a color overlay, and the green is 7B C702. Alright, the username should be bold, so if you don't know the shortcut, Command or Control Shift and B stands for bold, U stands for underline, and I stands for italic if the typeface you're using supports italic. But for now, I'll just use bold. Alright, so logged in as the admin, and we have a couple of other buttons. So this is button admin, duplicate this, call it button notifications, let's say 3 new messages, and we'll use the IC email, I think it was called. Yep, IC mail. Okay. Now, normally, if you don't have any notifications, the icon will be just a regular icon color. But if we do have notifications, then we need it to stand out somehow, and we can easily do that with a blue color. So I'm just gonna grab color, something like this, 00D8FF. Okay, and I'll also use that color for the button text. Okay. One other thing we'll be using in our theme are some separators for the menu. So let's grab the line tool and draw a vertical line, 1 pixel, in width, and the color should be the same as the button color. And you can see some extra bit of line here. You can easily remove that just by making a 1 pixel selection and clicking on mask. So now you got rid of it. All right. The distance should be about 10 pixels. So something like this. Okay, cool. Let's see what else. We have the notifications button, and then we have some settings button. So settings, which is white. I see settings. Let's see if we can find it. Grab the icon. Something like this. And the normal color for an inactive button icon is, let's see if I can find it. It's 9690 AC. All right, so kind of a light bluish grayish kind of color. All right, so that's settings. And another one that says log off or log out. And we'll use an IC power icon. Okay. Grab the same color from IC settings button simply by holding Alt and clicking on the FX icon and then dragging it like this. Okay, and that's an easy way to copy a layer style and paste it on another element. Cool. All right, so this is the top bar. We are done with it. Let's move on to part number 2, which is the tabs and the logo again. So let's create a new group, call it tabs, grab the rectangle tool, and then draw something like this. Now this is the initial tab, which in our case is the active tab. So match its background color to the background color of the content, and also match its stroke to the one of the content. All right, let's put this above the content. And we need to resize it a bit. All right. Let's see, it should come at about 20 pixels from the top. Let's input some text. This one's going to say dashboard, color, same dark color as the top bar background, bold, since it's the active one, and something like this. Bring up the content, right? And also we'll need an icon. And for this, I'm going to use, let's see, IC grid, I think it was called. No, there it is. Yep, IC grid. All right, let's give it a nice color. And let's use the color of the darker buttons. Okay, so that is the dashboard. Quickly resize the tab, something like this. Cool. And now duplicate it. Call this base, group it, call it active tab, and then duplicate it. Call it inactive tab. Let's just input some random stuff. It's regular. The color is the same color as our paragraphs, so 94, 98, A1. The color is white, no icon, and actually let's position this where the icon used to be. All right. Something like this. And duplicate it again and again to create two more tabs. So let's call this form elements, and let's call this table elements. Make this a bit bigger and make this one a bit bigger as well. Cool. Alrighty then, so that is our tabs. But before we scratch that off the list, we also need to make this look like a tab. So make a selection, something like this. Let me zoom in. Excuse me. Let me zoom in a bit closer so you can see. So I'm only selecting from border to border, and I'll create a new layer here, call it tab mask, and fill it with the same color as the background. So now it looks like we just removed that bottom line that separated the tab from the content. All right, so tab's done. Let's grab the fake logo. All right, just resize this to about 30 pixels in height. Okay, and it should align with the top of the tabs, something like this. Okay, cool. So we did the top bar, we did the tabs, the logo. Now it's time to move on to the actual content. So for this video, we'll do the side menu and some table design. Okay, so content, create a new group. call it side menu. Grab the rectangle tool and draw something that's about 230 in width. Something like that. It doesn't have to be precise. Cool. Call it base. Give it a stroke. And the stroke should be a bit darker than the background on which it's sitting on. So choose something like this: E2, E3, E4. All right. The heading of the whole boxy thing, you can easily do that by Command and left click on the base layer, and then grabbing the rectangular marquee tool, hold down Alt to subtract and make a selection something like this. Create a new layer, call it heading, and fill it with fill it with whatever color, and then give it a color overlay using the dark blue we used on the top bar. Cool. All right. Text, let's say side menu, fill it with white. Color, font family is Droid Sans again, bold, 12 pixels, and position this in the middle of the heading. Okay, so that is the side menu. Now we just need a list here with some links. So let's duplicate this. Actually, I'm just gonna cheat here a little bit. And use the existing style from the link. So we'll say side menu link 1, another side menu link, some random link. All right, left align, go to character, set the line height to about 24 pixels, or maybe even more, to about 30 pixels, and remove the underline. You'll see why in a bit. Okay. So now grab the line tool and draw a line, something like this. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Command and left click the base layer again, and then with this layer selected, click on mask. Okay, so now all the extra bits are gone. And we can also do that. We can also get rid of that extra bit on the bottom by making a selection and filling it with white to hide the extra bits. Okay. something like this. Okay, that looks pretty good. Next, we need to make some arrows for the links here. Now, we could use pre-existing arrows, but there is a way to create some pretty cool ones. So let's zoom in really close. Grab the rectangular marquee tool, make a 1x1 selection. As you can see, 1x1, new layer, call it arrow, fill it with black or whatever color you want to use for it. I'm gonna use the dark color here. All right, and then just go ahead and do this. Okay, select all of these, Command or Control E to merge, and then duplicate it again, select, and Command E to merge again. So this is what kind of a pixelated arrow looks like. We'll position it roughly about 10 or 15 pixels from the side. Okay, cool. And actually, I think the spacing here is a little off. So quickly go to character, select the line spacing to 36, and let's quickly retouch this. Okay, and duplicate the arrow, and duplicate the arrow again. All right, not perfect, but for what we need, it's just fine. Okay, so side menu with the links, with the tabs. Next, we gotta do the table, and for that, we'll actually put the table in a separate container, which will be used for housing different elements of the theme. So let me just show you what I mean. Before that though, just tiny squeeze on that. All right. Okay, that's a bit better. So duplicate this. You can leave about 20 pixels, or 20 pixel distance between the two. Okay. So let's call this content module table. We don't need the links anymore. We don't need the text. Instead, we'll just make the base like fill the whole available space. And also the heading will do the exact same thing. All right. So if we look at the left side, we can see the dark background is inside the border. So let's quickly do that here as well. Okay, cool. Now, since this is an admin template, it's a very common practice to have these content modules be able to expand or collapse. So let's do that as well. Let's say click to expand collapse. It's just an information text here. So we'll make this regular 10 pixels, and the color should be something a bit lighter though. So let's try our paragraph color 9498A1. Okay, that's good. So position this to the middle and then to the right of the whole heading thing. Okay, and in the final version this won't be a link. Instead it's just a text that shows on the big headings, you know, telling the user, hey, you can click here to expand or collapse or whatever. Cool. Let's expand the base here a bit more to be able to contain our table. Also, artwork will be moved, since we'll be expanding on the base here. Okay. Alrighty. So create a new group and call it table. Let's start with the table heading. So grab the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle that's something like this, right? Call it heading base. The color should be 5D6677. Okay. Alrighty. Let's write up some text. We'll say, I don't know, username, which will be droid sans 12 pixels and bold. Okay, position it to the middle of the heading. Okay, username, let's do an actual name, and finally email. Okay. We'll need some separators here. So grab the line tool and draw a line, something like this. Color should be something lighter than the background. So 83, 8A, 8E, sorry, A2. Okay. Mask it, call it VSEP. Roughly position them to the same distance from the text. Okay, that will do. All right, next step, we got to create some rows with information. So grab these three and duplicate them, group them, call it row, the color will be the same as the top color, regular 12 pixels, and remove the uppercase. Okay, and let's not forget the email will actually be a link. So all right. Duplicate the heading and just put it below all the text. Make it this color, the background color, and you can actually make it a bit smaller, something like this. Move all of these. Okay. And now you can just start filling with some random data. So actually here it would make sense to have name and username. So all right, cool. So that is one row, but before we duplicate it and create the other rows, it's important to add another element, and that is a checkbox. Most tables have checkboxes, one in the heading, in the table heading, and one in each row, to be able to select that row or all rows. So we'll do that as well, and to do that I'm gonna grab a wireframing kit I have. I'll provide the link at the end of the tutorial. You can get it yourself. So I'm just gonna grab the unselected checkbox here. And just roughly positioning it in the heading and in the row. All right, let's clean this up a bit. Call it heading, and this is the row. All right, cool. So now just duplicate the row, making sure you leave 1 pixel gap between rows, and again and again. Oh, sorry about this. I forgot something very important, which is edit and delete buttons. On every row you can either have links or some simple icons for edit and delete. So we'll do the same thing here. So let me just grab the IC edit. Let's see if we can find it. There it is, and IC delete. Cool. So grab these two. Color overlay on both of these. Let's use the color of the heading. All right. And again, position them to the right of the row, something like that. Cool. Okay, so now you can actually go ahead and duplicate each row. Okay, so now to create the alternate effect for the rows, you can go on each one and hide its background like this. Okay. So this is it. This is it for the table. One other thing we need to add, and let's increase the base here a little bit. We need to set. We need to give the user the possibility to perform specific actions with the items he selected. So the traditional way to do this is to have a drop box that says, you know, with selected, do the following action: delete or archive or I don't know, something else, whatever the user needs. So quickly, with selected, we also need a button. So create a new layer, call it button actions. Grab the round rectangle tool, 3 pixel radius, and we'll draw a quick button like this. And don't forget, the color of the button is 2069B4. Color is white, font size 12, bold, Droid Sans, and let's not forget uppercase. All right. Make this a bit bigger. So this will say apply to selected. All right. I know it looks kind of off right now since it's not aligned properly and stuff, but don't worry about it. All right, something like that. And for the whole table, you can see that we have a bit of white space here that doesn't clearly separate the table from the actual from the actions. So you can either set a stroke for the whole table, or you can just use a separator here, but we'll deal with that when we get to the coding bit. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll see you back in the next one where we'll cover the other elements in our admin theme, which are the forum elements, and we'll make those cool message boxes, and finally some additional buttons using using our icon set. So I'll see you back in the next video. Thanks.